What's up, everybody? How's it going? I wanted to film this video today. I'm actually watching Shark Tank right now. If you know me, you know it is often on in the background. I absolutely love Shark Tank. And one of the things that one of the contestants just said, she was an immigrant from Vietnam. She actually like escaped a refugee camp and she made it to America and she was working in corporate. And she said, I felt like I'd made it, but I knew that there was more to life than this, right? And when I think about what it takes to be a founder and what a founder is, there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with being an employee or a teammate or a part of a corporation. I think that's awesome. But I think a big part of it is does this excite me enough? Is this providing me with purpose? Right? One of the coolest things about being a founder is you have a hobby and a job at the same time. I mean, this is your passion project that technically blows up and everybody wants it, and that's really what being a founder is about. And hearing her say that just a minute ago just inspired me to hop on right now and then riff a little bit about being a founder. And then what does it take to be one? What kind of commitment do we have to have? Um, and this is extremely important. You know, it doesn't really take as much as you think, right? I think what it might take is time management. It might take a little bit of pushing. I recently went out with one of my friends and I was talking to her and she doesn't really have anything that she's passionate about right now in life. And it may seem stupid, but passion's not going to come and hit you over the head, right? It's not going to ring your doorbell and be like, "Here I am, what you've been waiting for." Right? That's not the way passion works. And pursuing your passion project, pursuing your hobby, or pursuing your business, that takes that level, right? We really have to go out there and find what it is. That it's not just going to come up to us and be like, "Boink, guess what? You're going to be rich and you found something you're extremely passionate about." That's not going to happen. How does it begin? Well, we go and we do yoga for the first time, and then we get the yoga bug. We go and we play paintball, right? Maybe we redecorate our house and we realize we're really good at it. Maybe we remodeled the bathroom and we realize we love it, right? So this is how some of these businesses come to be. They come from a passion. We're not just, oh, I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to be forced into it. And I don't want to remodel. It's going to be so expensive. And, you can't get to that passionate place if you're not also in a place of abundance somewhere, So I would say one of the first things it takes is definitely being in a place of abundance. I had a client call me up like 3 years ago. And he was like, "Man, Nick, how do I get on your level? How can I do what you did? Man, I just want to check this out. I want to be where you're at." And I said, "Well, tell me about your life." And he said, "Man, my daughter hates me. My boss hates me. My wife hates me." And I was like, bro, like, there's no way you're going to be an entrepreneur with all those people that are mad at you. First, let's start with your boss. All right. If you're not a good employee, you're not going to make a good entrepreneur. And that's not me to say, "Hey, you're a bad employee, you're a bad entrepreneur." It means that if you're getting away with some stuff at work and you're not being all you can be, you need to step it up. You need to know what it's like to have a sixth gear and really kick ass. If you don't prove it to yourself on someone else's dime, when it comes to yourself, I can guarantee you're going to let yourself down. So don't go doing that. Practice having a sixth gear at your current job that already pays you. See if you can be that super badass employee, right? That is extremely important. If you're not a great employee, you're not going to be a great entrepreneur. You're not going to be a great founder. All right, I'll tell you right now, little hack right there. So go kick ass at work. First thing I told him was, I said, go make your boss happy. I said, take 1 year. In that 1 year, make your boss fall in love with you. Have your wife respect you and then make sure your daughter falls back in love with you. And I say, you are not going to be able to be an entrepreneur while all of these relationships are in graveyards around you, especially not your wife and your child. They need to be your rock. If they're mad at you before you're a founder, they're going to be really mad at you after you're a founder. You've already been neglecting those relationships, and now you want to go and build something that's going to take all your time and all your energy, and it's going to piss you off. And, you're not going to be showing up right to them. The people around you, they have to love you before you embark on this decision. I mean, now you can do it without that, but you're just making it harder on yourself. So I told this man, take 1 year, repair all those relationships, work your ass off at work, get a raise, show your boss you're an awesome employee, show yourself you're an awesome employee. Next thing was go to your wife, find out what you're missing there, fix that scenario. Don't talk about being an entrepreneur. That's probably scaring the crap out of her too right now. Just tell her you're going to get a promotion at work. Tell her you're going to get a raise. Focus on the love between you guys. Go to your daughter. Ask her what you could do better. Be there for her. Make sure you repair that relationship. And I thought this was great advice because we think we can skip those levels, right? Healthy relationships is a level. Healthy employment is a level. Being a great employee, that's a level. We cannot skip these levels and just be a millionaire and just have $1 million business. And this is one small example. So I would consider these things in your life as well. What can I repair right now that when the time comes and I need that support, it's going to be there for me? Because I can promise, man, a stressed out entrepreneur, and I don't think there's no such thing as not being stressed out while you're starting a business. Especially if it starts working and people start buying. I remember I was the first employee for like the first 3 months. I did all the cold calls. I created all the systems. I created all the spreadsheets. I filled them out every day. I listened to recordings of myself every day. I sent the invoices to customers every day. I followed up with old customers every week. I was doing it all. I was pulling all the lists, skip tracing all the list. I did everything, tracking. This person paid, this person got it. Oh, this person got 3 leads. Who's sending them their leads? I had to manually send the leads back then. I did everything myself. I had to figure it all out. One day, I was cold calling. During this time, I'm my only cold caller. So I'm still cold calling and I'm doing all this stuff. And one day I have a total breakdown and I start crying at the computer. And I was like, I can't do all this myself. Yeah, am I good at it? Yeah, am I a great worker? But I'm getting crushed. And you know what? My relationships around me, they're suffering. My girlfriend's suffering. My parents suffering. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. You can't be overwhelmed in your business life and go hang out with your family and be like, oh, hey, everything's great. That shit bleeds over. And I'll never forget that day when I was crying at the computer. That was when I decided to hire my first round of cold callers. That was the first job I gave away, cold calling, because it took the longest. And the more people ordered, the more work had to be done. So it was the first thing I hired. So as founders, another thing we have to have is we have to have the ability to learn multiple things. You're not going to know these things. You're not going to know how to buy domains from a website. You're not going to know how to set up a CRM. You're not going to know how to create an email campaign. You're not going to know that. I didn't know any of that. You're not going to know how to send out an invoice. You're not going to know what the best way to follow up with your customers is. You're not going to know which phone system you should use. You're not going to know how to register those phone numbers when you find that phone system, right? And that's okay. I don't say this to scare you. I say this to prepare you. These are the multiple hats you're going to have to wear in your first couple months. But that's the good news. If you do it right, it's only a couple months. One of the things that I do in my life is I end up telling myself, if I only work this hard, for 12 weeks. And after those 12 weeks, I have a system and it's all figured out and I can pass that off to someone. It's worth working that hard. So every time I take on a big project, what calms me down and gives me the energy to actually do it is that I tell myself I only have to do it for 12 weeks, which is 3 months. And honestly, in most cases, it's actually 4 to 8 weeks. Like, Nick, we just have to work this hard for this short window. Then after we work this hard, we're good. At Lead Mining, I literally had the entire company automated in 5 months. Within 5 months, all I had to do was answer my phone. But it's because I had those philosophies and I did everything myself. And while I'm doing it myself, I'm coming up with the systems and the processes and the training. And then I'm creating departments and I'm hiring and I'm training people. My first hire was cold callers. My second hire was an administrative assistant named Highwell, who still works for me today. This was 8 years ago. He still works for me today. He's my manager now of all my virtual assistants. And I actually met Highwell through a previous job. They said, "Hey, Nick, go find a VA for us to use." I found a VA and they said, "We don't want to do that idea anymore." 6 months later, I have my own business. I reach back out to this VA and I say, "Hey, you still looking for work?" He said, "Yes, we've been together ever since." Highwell entered in all the numbers behind the scenes. He sent the invoices. He did the follow-up. He did all of the laborious work that wasn't cold calling. So now I had cold callers and I had an administrative assistant. So I'm no longer doing data entry and I'm no longer doing calls. Now what was left for me was sales and marketing. Those two things. I absolutely love those two things. That's what's really important to me. Sales and marketing. So then after those two, okay, I just have those to handle. I've had those two employees and now the company is growing. Now all I really have to keep doing at this point is adding on more cold callers and more administrative VAs. I to this day, I still handle all the sales and marketing. I just hired a marketing guy. I still like doing all the sales myself. But to this day, I've kept this system up for the last 7 years. But it took me taking it all on, getting overwhelmed, and then realizing it's time to hire out to really get here. So the next thing you need to be a founder is perseverance. You have to know everything's going to be okay. And I'll tell you, times are scary. In those first 3 months, you feel like you're dangling over a cliff, which is why your relationships in your life have to be strong. You need to have confidence and security somewhere. So when you need that, you have that to land on. You can do it without it, but why make your journey harder than it needs to be? So guys, I wanted to outline this today for some things of what it takes to be a founder. No, it really isn't that hard. And if we follow the principle that I brought up from Shark Tank early on, and it's that first we know that there's more to this life than working in this cubicle, than working in this office. That's step one. Step two is, do I have a great idea? Step three is my life ready for me to pursue a great idea? Am I a great employee? Am I a great husband? Am I a great friend? Am I a great father? Whatever your current roles are, you should be killing it in those roles because you have to beat that boss before you level up. You can't be a bad father and a great entrepreneur. You can't be a bad employee and a great entrepreneur. That's crazy. How are you ever going to know what you're capable of if you don't know you could do something? I knew when I became an entrepreneur, man, I used to be a great restaurant manager. I used to work 70 hours a week. I had so much integrity. I had 70 employees. They all loved me. I could channel these realities. And as I'm going into these unknowns, I'm using my past experiences to build confidence. And that's the main point of having these things be strong before you become an entrepreneur. They give you confidence as you move into them. I know you guys can do this. This is not hard. You're probably in the middle of doing it right now. You're probably feeling some of this pressure right now. Well, good news. That's exactly what I am creating this course for, to give you clarity, to help make it make sense, and to put it into a series of methodical steps so you can do what you need to do and cut out the overwhelm. I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. And then all you have to do is execute. I'm going to lay out my exact pathway, exactly what happened. And this video is the start. Everything we covered today is actually foundational leadership items. Okay. You are about to embark on being a leader. This is so important. You're about to have employees under you who look up to you. You're about to have job applicants apply to your company to work for you. You know, you are about to go into uncharted territory. And I'm here to make sure that you know how to navigate those waters. It's not as hard as you think. It is as scary as it sounds. But when you're good at it, hell, when you're great at it, there's nothing more rewarding than being a great leader and a great business owner, because you get rich, your employees get paid, and your customers are absolutely in love with you. That's where you're going to end up. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Here's to the next one.